Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, and yes, when people hear that I'm from the Bahamas, they cry, why would you leave the beautiful Bahamas when it's better in the Bahamas? Why would you leave the warm, sunny beaches of the Bahamas and come to all this cold here in Detroit, Michigan? Well, I didn't have a choice in the matter. It was my father's choice. He wanted me to come to America and share a word with the world. It was October 1962. Air raid sirens were sounding all around the world. DEFCON 2. The next stage would be full-out nuclear war. A world gone mad. Mutually assured destruction. Cuba, the epicenter. Northeast of Cuba lie the Bahamas, the pathway in which the Russians were placing ballistic missiles down into Cuba. These ballistic missiles, they could reach the whole eastern seaboard of the United States. All of our Canadian friends in the north, and even the Canadian friends in the south. way, 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 way west, past Denver. And the Russians were bringing these missiles in through the Bahamas, which lied on the Great Bahama Bank, with its shallow, treacherous water, making it very difficult for warships. And the Bahamas also lied within the Devil's Triangle that stretched from Miami down to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and up to Bermuda, creating an equilateral triangle where time and space melded, creating wormholes and black holes. This, the United States could not have. President John F. Kennedy called up the Prime Minister of the Bahamas and said, is there anyone that can help navigate the treacherous waters of the Bahamas and the Devil's Triangle? Yes, Mr. President, there's one man, John White, my father. You can pick him up within an hour at Fort Nassau. As the ship poured into the port, speaking of ships, does anyone know the name of the world's first nuclear-powered aircraft carrier? I'll tell you, the USS Enterprise. The USS Enterprise docked. My father hurried up the gangplank, armed with his protractor and his compass. And at the top of the gangplank to meet him was none other than Captain Hurt. Who promptly led him off to the bridge where he would help pilot the U.S. naval fleet through the treacherous waters of the Bahamas and the Devil's Triangle. By nightfall, boom! Boom! Help me! Boom! They were dropping depth charges, tracking a Russian submarine. Boom! Rocking it up on the shallow banks of the Bahamas, disabling it. Suddenly, the USS Enterprise was being tugged on by a black hole towards this event horizon in which there would be no return. Captain Kirk looked over and said, "Full throttle ahead, Scotty! Full throttle ahead! I'm giving her all she's got, Captain! I'm giving her all she's got!" Captain Kirk looked over at my father and said, "John, is there anything that you can do to help us escape the pull of the black hole before we get to the event horizon?" My father looked up into the night sky at the constellation Orion, and he lined up his protractor with the 45-degree angle of Orion's belt. "Due north, Captain! Due north!" And as Captain Kirk put a bearing due north, escaping the pull of the black hole. Before they could encounter another Russian ship or sub, the Cuban Missile Crisis had come to an end. And upon hearing how my father helped save a world gone mad, President Kennedy summoned him to the White House to personally thank and honor him for his job well done. President Kennedy also said, "Would you help us map the treacherous waters of the Bahamas and the Devil's Triangle, making it a much safer passage in exchange for U.S. citizenship?" My father looked at him and said, "Mr. President, that would be disingenuous of me. I'm a Bahamian man, and it's better in the Bahamas." However, what you can do is you can help us gain our independence from Great Britain. Always trade our paper money 1-to-1. I don't know how you work that out with the Canadians, those other people, but 1-to-1 in the Bahamas. Grant me permanent residency with full diplomatic immunity. Allow me to bring my wife and my son, Honest John, to Detroit, Michigan, where Honest John can share the message that paper is never the money. Boom!